the man who's sitting right next to the Vince Lombardi Trophy here on the Rich Eisen Show set at the Honda Studios in Houston, hoisted the Vince Lombardi Trophy, Willie McGinest.
Good.
There you go. See, I figured you'd be comfortable sitting next to the VLT right there. Now, what did you see? Go ahead and say what you said when I said I had this here for you. And go ahead and say what you said.
I said you forgot a couple.
There you go.
You need a couple more.
I'm a couple shy.
Nice.
That's what he said. It's a couple shy.
You know how we joke.
I know. You go on 3 of them. It's an unbelievable, and 3 and 4 years too. Now, the first NFL Network covered Super Bowl was the one here in Houston.
Yes.
Where you took on the Carolina Panthers in that game.
Yeah.
And that was an incredible game for many reasons, because I remembered, I think it set a record for the longest that there was no points scored in the game. And then the end of each half, first and second halves of the games, it went crazy. And I remember looking down on the field, you guys were sucking oxygen in the building that night, right? It was just an incredible track meet that broke out.
It was hot in the building, and it was probably the most physical game I have ever played in.
No kidding.
Oh, no kidding at all. That team was physical on the offensive side and the defensive side. Fox had those guys ready to play, and a big brawl, because it was so intense, almost happened on the introductions when we almost met at we met at the 50-yard. Everybody met in midfield, and it almost broke out. Not that we hated each other, but it was just the build-up. And like I said, they were a physical team. We're a physical team. And that game right there was one of the toughest, I would have to say.
Now, at what point, when did you learn what happened at halftime of that game? Who was the one who informed you of the wardrobe malfunction?
Not till after the game.
Afterwards.
It wasn't.
There
till
wasn't
after
any
the game.
discussion in the second half.
There wasn't
of that
any
game.
discussion.
Okay.
It wasn't any discussion, and we wasn't out on the field early enough to catch that part of the performance. So
it happened at the very end.
Well, I know
it happened at the very very end,
and it was a long time. You know that those halftimes for the Super Bowl are extra long.
They are.
We didn't catch that part. We just came out. I think they was pushing all the stuff off the field, and we were getting warmed up.
Then you got it. Well,
yeah, we were locked in.
Well, we were all excited because it was the first ever NFL Network commercial that for Super Bowl that ran right after halftime. So we were all right around the television set getting ready.
Attention.
And all of a sudden, I don't remember the commercial running because I'm like, wait a minute, did I just see what I just saw on the field at halftime? Did that just happen?
It happened.
It did indeed.
Yes,
So
it did.
somebody came up to you after the game in the locker room? Is that
Well,
right?
yeah. I mean, the media was talking about it, about all the different things that happened during the Super Bowl outside of the win, the game. And that was the biggest, I guess, one of the biggest stories.
Well, it's interesting that you say it was the most physical game that you played in because we removed them on our poll question, Brockman. We removed the 2003 Panthers for ask the poll question to Willie McGinest.
Okay.
He should absolutely have an expert opinion on this.
Who's the best team Bill Belichick's Patriots have faced in the Super Bowl? The 0-1 Rams, the 0-7 Giants, 2011 Giants, 14 Seahawks, and this year's Falcons.
Wow. I would say offense, definitely the Rams. And I would say defense, definitely the Seahawks. Wait.
But you can't split it up like that.
I know. I can't combine them.
No, you got to choose one team.
Probably the Rams all around.
The 2001 Rams.
'Cause they had a really good defense. Nobody really talked about the defense.
Right.
But they had a top defense in the league as well as one of the best offense in the league as well.
Where are they on that list?
They're third at 19%.
Vinatieri, the hero, we heard his field goal. You forget he missed his first 2 field goals that game before he made.
We don't ever remember them.
I was going to say, we just gave him a death
So,
stare.
but who is the other two?
Yeah, so the Seahawks are at 46%, and this year's Falcons 20%.
Where do you put the Falcons on this list here?
Well, I mean, they haven't played the game yet, right? So I'm still breaking things down. I do compare the Falcons' offense to the Rams' offense.
I mean,
as
the
far as
numbers,
being explosive.
The numbers, we had the numbers here before.
Right.
The numbers are almost similar.
Yeah.
Comparable here. Yeah. People keep cleaning up my desk. Here we go. Well, people, it's just
it's you.
It's me. Here you go. Take a look at those numbers right there. I mean, the points per game and the yards per game.
Yeah.
At the top right there, they're very similar.
Yards.
So what do you think Belichick is thinking right now? Patricia and all those guys. What are they trying to cook up for Matt Ryan as we're currently sitting here, Willie McGinest?
Well, let me just say, there's no perfect defense to stop everything. So you're going to have to compromise something in the football game. The one thing that we focused on against the Rams or explosive offenses was not giving up big plays. So you want to probably try to keep everything in front of you. You also want to try to get turnovers, try to figure out a way to create turnovers.
They've only given up 11
They did.
this year.
They have, and they're really good at that. But you have to force other players to make plays. So you got Julio Jones. He's going to make plays. Don't give him the big plays. You got other players on that team, the running game. They can destruct the defense out of the backfield. So you got to figure out, Belichick's first thing is that's his first priority, stop them up front. Because if you can't stop them up front, then it opens up things down the field. So I would say with Freeman and those guys, you gotta be physical with them in the run game. You got to hit them on their way out of the backfield to become receivers. And you just got to be physical. I think that's the one thing.
That's what you did with the Rams.
You got to be physical. You got to throw the timing off, and you got to be able to get pressure. Once you make Matt Ryan pull the ball down, you got to be able to get pressure.
Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show. When was the last time you spoke to TB12? When's the last time you spoke to
the AFC Championship?
Before or after?
After.
Okay.
We walked right by each other in the locker room before, and we didn't say a word. I mean, that's just how focused the guys are. Hightower, Edelman, all those guys were focused. So I understand how it goes, especially
Well, you're not going to walk up to
room.
you're not going to say,
Well, no,
hey,
I usually
how you
walk up
been?
and give guys hugs, good luck, whatever. But when I saw the guys and I saw them focused, we just walked by each other. I mean, that's just how it happened.
Now, but you also know that TB12 has been on what we call here on the Rich Eisen Show the FU Tour 2016. And this is the finale of the FU Tour. This is the big finish.
We'll see.
Now, he's not really given any indication at all. His dad put the commissioner on full blast. So you know what the Brady family is thinking about Deflategate.
Sisters, dad, mom.
Is he not thinking about this at all, this moment? Like, he's really not envisioning the moment of basically where he was sat down for 4 games, that it would ultimately mean nothing when it comes down to it. Obviously, there's the legacy question that will always be hanging over this,
Right.
but that it meant nothing in terms of winning and losing in 2016. He's not thinking about that even in a quiet moment.
I think
really.
he is. We're all human, and I think when you go through something, when you're not with your teammates, and there's something that's lasted almost a year and a half, and it affects you and your family, and it dominated the headlines. And like I said, you miss time. You take away something that means most to him at this point in his life outside of his family. Of course, that's in the back of your mind. And, it's all about the motivation. It's all about the road to getting here. And I think his teammates feel the same thing. Like when you talk to his teammates or you're in that locker room, they fight for this guy. I mean, they really love him. So I think this would put a exclamation point on everything that happened, and it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to say this. It's going to be interesting if the Patriots win the football game, what happens in the presentation after the game.
Right. Well, with the commissioner
Yeah.
handing it off to Bob Kraft, I think Mr. Kraft would throw a little bit of red meat to the Patriot fan base. I think that would be thrown out there a little bit.
Yeah.
But if Brady is the MVP the next morning, that's the press conference that the commissioner and the MVP have together. It's a joint press conference, essentially.
It is.
Oh, my gosh. The drama. The absolute drama. And then you're on NFL Total Access all week here on the NFL Network, my NFL media group, compadre. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, because I hosted the very first NFL Total Access at a Super Bowl last
you
time we were
did.
here. I believe you were a guest on it. You showed up in person.
Did I?
You did.
Okay.
You did. But do you know who also showed up on Tuesday night?
Who showed up?
None other, in person, on NFL Total Access, Bill Belichick.
Oh, really? Is he coming? Is he coming to the show this time?
I don't know. I'm taking a look at the guest list the NFL Network handed me.
Will history repeat itself?
Although I do believe he's sitting down with Melissa Stark today for NFL Game Day morning coming up.
It's kind of the same, almost.
Well, in person with me
Yeah. Oh, it's a
is
little
all that
different.
matters. I mean,
Yeah.
take a look at the carpet that's right there.
That's
I know it's
true.
reading upside down, but what does that say,
The
Willie?
Rich Eisen Show.
Correct.
All right.
There is an I in Rich and
is.
Eisen.
Yes, it
okay?
is.
Thanks for coming on, Willie.
Thanks for having me,
So
Rich.
you believe the Patriots will win?
You know what? I haven't finished everything yet.
What do you mean?
Because I'm one of those guys. I like to dive into the tape. I like to watch the matchups, and a lot of people expect me to just say Patriots because I play for the Patriots. But I really want to break down everything and see. And by the end of the week, I'll know.
Let me translate for you, Rich. Willie's taking the Patriots.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I'm being honest, bro.
Thank you.
I know.
Put him on blast. Like
Check
that.
out Willie McGinest and a cast of thousands and all my hardworking compadres at the NFL Network on NFL Total Access at 7 Eastern Time. Your old college teammates coming up here next.
Yeah, Tony,
Right?
man.
Tony Baselli next in just 60 ticks of the clock.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.